Hi friends, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Carly and today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter preview. The game that we're going to be chatting about today is Everstone Discovering Ignis from McDavid Publishing, who is helping sponsor this video. Welcome to Everstone Discovering Ignis. Everstone is a 1-to-4 player game where you will take on the role of pathfinders arriving in an undeveloped land. Each turn you will move your action pawn to a new location on your player board and perform the action shown. Travel the area, harvest the land, or even repair lost relics that have long been forgotten, all in the hopes of becoming one of the most influential members of Ignis. Now this copy that I have in front of me is the one that I obviously used for all of the images and all the b-roll and everything in this video. I do want to make one thing very clear, is that this is very much a prototype copy of the game that I have in front of me. At the time of filming this video, the publisher has even reached out and showed me, especially the artwork. I know a lot of this artwork on this main board will be different, so make sure you check out the current crowdfunding campaign that is live for this game to see kind of more finalized versions of the art in this game. So Everstone is a 1-to-4 player game where the entire purpose of the game is to be the player that walks away with the most reputation. So let's chat a little bit about how you go about doing that. So on a player's turn, players will take turns moving their little character token here to a new action space on their personal player board and then performing that action. There are 4 main actions that you can do on your turn. Those actions are barter, explore, harvest, or repair. So let's kind of briefly chat about what each of those mean. So the first action that you can choose to do is bartering. When you are bartering, you select your little caravan token, move it to Ignis, which is a specific location on the board, and then you're able to purchase a relic that is open in the market. Relic is just a fancy term for cards. Now these cards or relics that you purchase, you actually will be bringing them into your personal little workshop area of your little player board. It's a really interesting puzzle because based on where you place that card, inevitably you're actually covering up certain abilities. And so if you choose to place your relic on a certain location, you lose that potential ability that you would be able to use in the future. So you have to kind of be a little bit strategic about where you're placing the relics that you're collecting. The next action that you can choose to do is explore. When you explore, again, you take your little caravan token and you place it on any of the locations on the board. Every single location has a little tile. These are called villager tiles that are placed on it, and all of them are different and they allow you to do different stuff. So if you do choose to explore a location, like if I chose this location for example, I could advance up along this influence track here. Now something that's also interesting about when you explore are these tiles are always kind of shifting and rotating. So by me coming here and activating this ability actually gets removed from the board, and the one that is up next actually fills its space. And then this gets put at the bottom of the rotation pile. So eventually you'll see that ability again, but it's going to kind of take a few more people exploring and these tiles getting shifted through in order for that ability to come up again. We'll talk a little bit about influence a little bit later on, but throughout the game you have opportunities to place your influence in Everstone or in this world. And so whoever goes on a location where you personally have placed influence, you actually get to advance along influence tracks for that. The next action that we're going to chat about is the harvest action. The harvest action is really interesting because you have 3 dice in the game, and so when you choose to harvest, you roll those dice, and then you kind of have a couple of different options or things you can do based on what you roll. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2 of your dice, add their number together, and whatever number that is a specific track you get to increase your influence on over here. The dice that was left over, however, though, that is how many gems or resources of that particular color you get to collect and add to your little personal player board over here. So it's kind of a little bit of an interesting puzzle trying to figure out, okay, I can add these 2, which then allows me to advance, it gives that would be 10, which allows me to advance on the red, but then I'm only left with a 2 left over, so I only actually get to collect 2 of the red resources, so is it really worth it? So it's a little bit of a puzzle going on. And when you do collect those resources, over here on your personal player board, there are specific locations that are open, allowing you to store those those resources. So you can only store the amount of resources that, or you can only collect and keep the amount of resources that you're actually able to store on your board. Now, I've kind of briefly mentioned influence before, but there are times in the game where you have opportunity to, you know, give out some influence tokens. Every time you clear a stack of 3 from your personal player board, it actually unlocks a new location for you to store more resources. And there are certain cards and other elements throughout the game that you're actually able to tack on to your workshop board that again open up more spaces for resources. So as the game goes on, at the beginning you're kind of limited, you don't have a ton of space, but as the game goes on you really can have like way more space than you actually really need. So that's what harvesting is, basically just a way to advance along these influence tracks and also gain the resources that you need. And now the final action that you can choose to do, which in my opinion I feel like is the most interesting, is actually the repair action. So I mentioned that when you collect relics, you place them on one of the 4 open slots that are on your personal player board. Well, when you choose the repair action, you're able to pay the resources necessary, and you can choose to either then sell that relic and gain some sort of like little reward, or you can keep that relic, and what you actually do is you tuck it under your board, under one of the 4 action slots that we've previously gone over. And what makes this interesting is that when you go, now let's pretend I repaired a relic and I tucked it under my explore action. Well, now next time I use that explore action, instead of just exploring, you actually start activating abilities from the top of your board down. So as you tuck more and more cards, pretend I have like 3 cards tucked under my explore action. Next time I use explore, I'm able to explore, and then I actually move down my board and I slowly activate all of those tucked cards abilities, and I am able to do everything that I've tucked under that certain action. So repairing is really interesting, and I mean I would even argue that repairing is kind of like one of the core mechanisms and foundations of this game, because the more you're able to repair, the more cards you're able to repair and tuck and get those certain abilities comboing really well, you get really good combos when you do that. Now, I mentioned that the point of this game is to gain 10 reputation. That is what triggers the end of the game. So the moment that somebody reaches that 10 mark, everybody gets one more round or one more turn to try to beat that if they're able to. But yeah, so let's chat a little bit about how you gain reputation. So if you take a look at this board here, there's this symbol that is found kind of throughout this entire game. And what that is every time you place an influence token on top of that symbol, that is what allows you to advance up the reputation track. So up here at the top of the board, these global achievements, these are achievements that the moment that anybody around the table successfully meets one of those, you're able to immediately take one of your influence tokens and place it on top of that, indicating that you claim that reputation. So once that happens, you get to advance along the reputation track here. That symbol is also found at the top of the influence track, so whoever reaches the top gets to collect some reputation for doing that as well. There are also personal quests found throughout the game that you're able to collect, and again, kind of similar with all these, once you successfully do that, you're able to flip that card over and then again place one of your little influence tokens on that quest, indicating that you completed it, and again advance along the reputation track. There are also certain relics, cards found throughout the game that again you're able to gain lots of reputation points from. Some of these locations even allow you to, like for example this one says discard 3 cards, and then you're able to gain a reputation track for doing that. So there really are a lot of different ways to go about managing your points and collecting points throughout this game. So that is basically how you play the game. You take turns moving your little character token to a new action that you did not perform last time. Perform that action again top to bottom, slowly going through and activating any tucked cards or caravan upgrades or anything that you might have added to your board, and then it goes on to the next player's turn, and whoever reaches the 10 points, that's what triggers the end of the game. So I know that's a very general kind of overview of this game. Hopefully it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how it plays, but I do want to kind of go into and chat a little bit about who I feel like this game is for. That's something that I like to do with my Kickstarter previews, because I know that is a hard thing with Kickstarters, is like, oh, this game looks interesting, but is it really for me? So let's chat a little bit about who I feel like this game would be perfect for. So coming into this, I really want to talk about the mechanisms that I find in this game. And I find the mechanisms in this game so interesting and alluring. The biggest one for me personally is engine building. If you like engine building games, you are going to really enjoy this one, I think. Because again, as the game starts, you are able to do stuff, but really it's that repair action. The more you're able to repair those relics and tuck them onto your player board, there are over 70 different relics or 70 different cards that are found throughout this game, and it is so interesting. It's such an interesting puzzle to collect a relic and then figure out how best to use that relic, because the cards are so multi-use. There's so many different ways that you can use the cards. You could junk it for its ability, you could sell it for its ability, you could tuck it for to help upgrade your caravan. You could try to offload it to try to get the resources. Like, there's so many different ways that you can combo your cards together to try to build the best, most efficient engine. And so just that puzzle of seeing the cards that were available on the market and trying to figure out the best way to combo them all together and to get those really good chaining actions together was so satisfying. I already kind of mentioned this, but the cards are all very multi-use. So if you enjoy multi-use cards and trying to figure out that puzzle, that's another really great thing about this game. Every turn you're only doing one action, but as you build out your engine more, those actions become longer and longer and longer, and you're able to have so many satisfying chaining actions in this game. So if that's something that's satisfying to you, just being able to have these awesome huge turns because of the way, again, you successfully built your engine, you're able to have those huge long super satisfying turns. That is definitely present in this game. I know when I played, me and Kim actually played this game, and while we were playing, I felt like I did a really great turn where I was actually able, I was like boom boom boom, able to do a lot of stuff, and I actually advanced 3 in one turn up this reputation track because I was chaining all my actions together, and I was so satisfied. It's like, oh man, that was such a great turn. And then Kim went, and she literally, the way she had her engine built up is she was able to actually chain her actions in such a way that she advanced, I believe it was 5 up the reputation track, and she was shot right past me. I believe she hit 11 points, which again triggered the end of the game, and I did not see that coming at all. So there's definitely really satisfying chaining that happens in this game. So if you enjoy that, that is definitely very, very, very strong and present in this game. Now, I know when I say this, people are gonna go crazy with it. So I don't mean that this game is like Scythe, because it's not like Scythe, but I do have similar undertones, or I feel similar undertones when I'm playing this game, like I did with Scythe. I do kind of see some similar actions. So for example, your little character board where you have to move your token to, a new action that you didn't do last time. That is something that's found in Scythe. But also the main thing that kind of feels like Scythe-ish to me is just that race to 10 points, because it really is. It is a race. This game, I feel like the theme isn't super strong for me. For me, it literally just feels like a mechanical race to 10 points, because once you start getting those engines going, you can shoot up this reputation track fast. So really, from the very beginning, from the moment the game starts until it ends, you are basically just going as fast as you possibly can, trying to be as efficient as you possibly can, and build your engine in such a way that you, again, are able to, claim all of the possible reputation that you can, and just shoot up this reputation track. So if that element intrigues you, that race to the finish, race to try to get the points, that's another thing that's very strong in this game. And I really loved the card management in this game as well, because again, as you collect relics, you have to add them to your board, which inevitably covers up some sort of ability. So you obviously want relics, but you don't want too many, because that's going to cover up a lot of your abilities or stuff that you want to do. So just the puzzle between not only collecting the cards, and using them as using the repair action to tuck them, but also just simply placing them and trying to figure out efficient ways to hold your relics was a really satisfying puzzle for me. So I know I just mentioned kind of a lot of different stuff that is going on in this game, and I mean, it's true, there is a lot of really fun mechanisms at play in this game. So if anything that I just mentioned sounds like something that you would be interested in, or your family or your gaming group, I would highly recommend checking out the current crowdfunding campaign that is going on for this game. But there you go, there is my little Kickstarter preview for Everstone Discovering Ignis. Again, huge shout out to McDavid Publishing for sponsoring this video. And if you are interested in checking out the campaign for this game, I'll make sure to have everything linked in the description below this video. As always, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.